Welcome, everybody. We are now called to order. Just a quick reminder before we get started, city's been having technical difficulties today. So if we go offline, we will probably be offline for the rest of the night. So just a heads up. We now call this meeting to order. Roll call, Monica.
Councilman Wickenhagen.
Here.
Councilwoman Mattson.
Here.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Here.
Councilman Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Bell.
Here.
Councilman Costello.
Here.
And Councilman Carlson is not present. He did contact Sherry and I and say that he was indisposed. He's feeling ill.
We have a motion to approve his absence.
I move to excuse Carlson.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved to excuse Mr. Carlson by Cliff, seconded by Jackie. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. Unanimously, he's excused. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, I just thank you for the city that we're representing. I pray that you be with each of us tonight as we make decisions about the business of the city. I thank you for the citizens, and I just ask for your wisdom to be on each of us. I pray these things through Jesus Christ, your Son. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Agenda changes, we have none. Public appearances, introductions, and presentations. We have Katrina Hinkle from the Downtown Association.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Kind of follow up with what we've been talking about. We've got our cleanup day coming on May 15th and lots of great honeydews thanks to the planning department in the city and just things we've seen around town. We've got a rummage sale coming up on the next weekend, May 22nd. So if you have any items that you'd like to donate to the SDA, we will sell them, and we're using those proceeds for things like the utility box wraps, for the planter boxes, and just several other projects that we'd like to work on. We have offered a few grants for facade and beautification, as we talked about last time, to the outskirts and the building that Pizza Hut is in by Graph. Those are facade grants. We've offered a beautification grant to Brian and Fran Harris to paint the Selah Police Department building. And we are working on two more, one beautification grant and one facade grant. We're still working on those, and we'll talk about those kind of as they come up. And if there are no other questions, we have Sip and Stroll coming up on June 19th. So if there's any questions on that, we have 14 locations, 14 local food businesses, restaurants, caterers, 14 different alcoholic businesses. So wine, beer, cider, and 14 different non-alcoholic, as well as Treetop involved. And so just be watching for those details. Those tickets go on sale May 5th. They're $20 if you buy them early, $25 if you buy them at the door, and you can always buy extra script at the event. So we're hoping it's big and successful and everybody enjoys it. It'll be a really kind of a big day for Selah, I think. So are there any questions? Well, thanks for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Katrina. Getting to know our business, we have none. Communications. Mr. Case.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We are presently conducting the regular meeting portion of today's session. State law does not require a non-charter code city, such as the city of Selah, to allot time for public comment during a regular meeting between the mayor and city council. Historically, the city has chosen to allot time for public comment during its regular meetings, subject to a maximum of 2 minutes per commenter and common sense standards of decorum. Recently, those standards of decorum have been increasingly infringed. Those wishing to offer public comments during a regular meeting must comply with the following process and standards. Each commenter must state his or her full name and whether he or she is a registered voter residing within the city limits of Selah. Each commenter is limited to one comment and a maximum duration of 2 minutes per regular meeting. A maximum of 30 minutes per regular meeting will be allotted for all public comments. Comments must be constructive and respectful. No profanity, insults, defamation, or direct or implied personal attacks will be allowed. Criticism of city policy is allowed, but personal criticism of any individual is not allowed. The public comment process is not a question and answer process. Also, each commenter should speak solely for himself or herself, rather than purporting to speak on behalf of others, repeating verbatim or nearly verbatim what another commenter has said, or repeating what a written document says. In-person comments will be heard from the podium in the order offered by commenters, and during the COVID shutdown, written comments will be read aloud in the order received by city staff, and telephonic comments may also be heard. The mayor may cut off any in-person or telephonic comment that he or she deems inappropriate, and city staff at the direction of the mayor may disallow or modify any written comment that is deemed inappropriate. These standards are subject to revision. Those who infringe the applicable standards may be barred from offering public comment during future regular meetings. Public comment during regular meetings is not the exclusive method to communicate with the mayor or city council on any topic. People may send emails or letters, leave voicemails, or request in-person meetings to or with the mayor or any member or members of the city council. The mayor and each member of the city council has personal discretion over how and when he or she might respond to emails, letters, voicemails, and requests for in-person meetings.
Thank you. Monica?
Madam Mayor, there were no comments submitted for the meeting.
All right, thank you. Written, we have none. Proclamations and announcements, we have none. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion without discussion. Should any council member request that any item on the consent agenda be considered separately, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and become part of the regular agenda. Roger?
Yes, Madam Mayor, subject to the minor correction typo on N2, I would move that we approve the consent agenda as modified.
Thank you, Roger.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mike. So with the modification of N2 on the consent agenda, we have a motion to approve. Oh, yes, Roger?
I'm sorry, I misstated. It's under the minutes of
Right,
the N2, not under
Right.
N2. Okay.
right. We have a motion to approve by Roger and a second by Mike. All those in favor? And opposed? It's unanimous. Oh, sorry, Suzanne, your picture froze. I was looking at your hand there. It's unanimous, Monica, it's passed.
Would you like me to read the
Yes,
consent agenda?
please. Yep.
Approval of minutes, April 13, 2021 council meeting, and approval of claims and payroll.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. General business, under new business, we have none, and old business, we have none. Resolutions. Mr. Lang or DC Gilly, I'm not sure who's presenting tonight. Is Chief Lang on?
He's on, he's just phoning in.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I bumped both of them to unmute, but they haven't yet.
Okay,
Madam Mayor, I'm here. Looks like Chief Ling might be indisposed at the moment,
okay.
but I do know that he wanted to reach out to council.
Can you hear me now?
There he is.
Oh,
Perfect.
there he is. Yes, we can. Go ahead, Chief.
Okay, thanks, Nikki. Council, this is a resolution that we, for a contract with the Yakima Valley School that we go through every year. This is simply a contract renewal. The state sets the rates for fire protection services, and that's all we're doing tonight. That's all we're asking.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Cliff?
I have a quick question, a couple of questions that this is, I know we've had this interlocal agreement forever. Is the state the one that sets the rate, or is that negotiated each time?
No, that is a state rate for any state facility like that. They calculate the fire protection by square footage.
Okay, the other question I had is sort of from yours or Dale's end. I got confused with the invoice gets sent to YBS, which is in Selah. The contract is with DSHS facility in Olympia, and it says that it has to be accepted and approved by Western State, which is in Lakewood. Do we really understand where and how that works?
Okay, you were a little broken on my end since I'm on my phone. I apologize, but I believe the two different locations are that DSHS operates or oversees the Yakima Valley School, and the contract goes to the other location. Does that answer your question?
Well, it does. It just seems like it's overcomplicated process since it has to go through three people, but I realize we're working with the state, and so I don't.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer exactly, Cliff. Yeah, it's
I used to work there. I understand. While I have my mic open, I move to approve resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an interlocal agreement with Washington State Department of Social and Health Services for fire and EMS services for Yakima Valley School.
Thank you, Cliff.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Jackie. We have a motion to approve by Cliff, a second by Jackie. Roll call, Monica?
Councilman Wickenhagen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mattson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Bell,
Yes.
Councilman Costello,
Yes.
unanimous, Madam Mayor, in approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Chief Lang. Resolution N2, Mr. Case.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Council. I am presenting to you action item N2 tonight in the stead of Anita Garcia, who is our court clerk for our municipal court. She's out of town at the moment. What you have before you is a resolution with proposed agreement. It's an interlocal agreement. Well, actually, it's an information technology purchase agreement is what they're calling it. It would establish essentially a contract between the city of Selah and what's called the Office of the Administration of Courts, AOC. This is going to be a reimbursement program. AOC historically has acquired certain information technology, essentially computers, for the use of our municipal court. And this agreement will change that scenario slightly, but not actually impact the city financially. What I mean by that is there could be scenarios where the city will be able to acquire the information technology either basically more quickly on a direct basis, and then seek and obtain full reimbursement from AOC for those purchases, rather than waiting for AOC itself to acquire the technology and forward it on to our municipal court. So this resolution, if it's passed, will establish that the mayor can sign and enter into this agreement. And then under this agreement, each and every time that information technology is necessary, the city and AOC will enter into a sub-agreement that they're calling a purchase reimbursement agreement, which basically will specify the price or value for each technology purchase and each technology purchase itself. And then the city has a deadline whereby to submit an invoice for full reimbursement. So there's no fiscal impact to the city for this, because any financial outlays that the city makes to acquire any of this technology directly will be reimbursed by AOC.
Thank you, Mr. Case.
Move to approve the resolution authorizing the agreement.
Thank you, Kevin.
Second.
It's been moved to approve by Kevin, seconded by Roger. Roll call, Monica.
Councilman Wickenhagen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Matson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Bell,
Yes.
Councilman Costello,
Yes.
unanimous in favor, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Ordinances. Mr. Wayman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This particular ordinance is an ordinance amending our ordinance number 2115, establishing the 2021 base salary and wage schedule and management for our employees. Specifically, this modification applies to our facilities coordinator. For those of you who recall, when we went into our budget discussions, we held off on keeping that position because of the current virus situation, which restricted our ability to use the Civic Center. Well, that's changed now. The situation has changed. We can go to 50% capacity, and we would like to get our Civic Center energized and get folks in there and get it operational again. Can't do that without personnel. And what this really does is it sets us back in our normal table of organization by bringing this new individual on. We have already done interviews. We have identified the individual. We haven't given a job offer. We won't do that until the council approves this position. So our fiscal impact is $35.73 per month salary, and you can see the funding source breakdown: 75% Civic Center, and Department 71 participant recreation, 15%, and 10% out of transit. For those of you who are wondering about transit, that individual will be responsible for selling a lot of our bus passes, and our Civic Center is our bus terminal for our transit system. So we would like to hire this individual on May 15th and get that person busy. Unless anybody has any questions, that's all I have.
Roger.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the ordinance amending the city ordinance number 2115.
Okay, thank you, Roger.
Kevin, I'll second.
We have a motion to approve by Roger, a second by Kevin. Roll call, Monica.
Councilman Wickenhagen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Matson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Bell,
Yes.
Councilman Costello,
Yes.
unanimous in favor, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
O2 is our next one, and Mr. Schwab, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what you have in front of you is an ordinance amending the 2021 budget to reestablish a facilities coordinator position. Mr. Wayman touched on pretty much everything. You know, our hope is that we can get our seniors back into the Civic Center, that we can bring back, you know, senior exercise and tops and all of the groups who meet before we open and afterwards, such as like the anger management class. And, you know, we've got some groups that are itching to get back into the Civic Center. So we need to bring on a facilities coordinator. Like Mr. Wayman said, we've got somebody in mind and we would love to offer the position to him. We just need approval from the council. So, you know, the fiscal impact in what you've been given, it shows for salary and benefits. So unless anybody has any questions, that's all I've got.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I move to approve the ordinance amending the 2021 budget for the reestablishment of the position of facilities coordinator.
thank you, Jackie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Cliff. We have a motion to approve by Jackie, a second by Cliff. Roll call, Monica.
Councilman Wickenhagen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mattson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Bell,
Yes.
Councilman Costello,
Yes.
unanimous in favor, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Public appearances, we have none. Reports and announcements. Chief Chrisman.
Good evening, everybody. I honestly don't have a lot to report to you this week, but I would open myself up to any questions you might have about the police department or anything that we're doing. I will tell you that we have sort of relaunched our traffic campaign, and we've been out doing some education and a little bit of an enforcement, and so that's something different, you know, sort of post-COVID. And the guys are getting out there a lot more. We've also been spending a lot more time in the school zones in the morning and then in the afternoon, of course, when they're active. And now that school's fired back up pretty much full speed, we've been dealing with traffic congestion issues around the schools and trying to help with that as well. And we still have our SRO who's active in the schools and taking care of problems on the campus. But unless you have any other questions, that's it from me tonight.
Looks like you're off scot-free.
That's a good thing, Madam Mayor, a great thing.
Thank you. Have a great night. Mr. Peters.
Hello, everybody. I guess I'll start off. I'm kind of covering both planning and public works this afternoon or evening, I guess. So we'll start off with kind of planning things, and then we'll kind of move on to public works after that. So with planning, we've been pretty busy. We've been working on getting the Shorelines Master Program ready for your consideration. And as of today, Monica has all of the information and ordinances, so that way we can bring that to you at your May 11th meeting for adoption of our Shorelines Master Program. And that will close out our Department of Ecology grant for updating those regulations for both the Shorelines Master Program itself and then the accompanying critical areas ordinance. So you'll receive a big packet of material on that. All of that particular program is required by state law, and we haven't adopted any kind of regulations in along with that we weren't required to. So pretty straightforward. Also, we've been busy working with Public Works on getting some information put together and some list of projects put together to send out to both our state and federal representatives. Also, your next meeting on May 11th, we'll be bringing to you a task order from HLA to prepare what was formerly known as the build grant application for the Natchez, I'll call it the Natchez Road extension to connect up to the highway across the gravel pit. So we're going out not for full design, but for study and for environmental review of that proposal. So then we can try to move forward that that long-term planning project and infrastructure projects. So hopefully we'll be successful this time, as we're told that there's lots of money being thrown at infrastructure projects and including planning for them. So hopefully we'll be successful in that. Also with that, we are also searching out and working with Joe to get letters of support for other projects. We have a project to expand our wastewater treatment plant capacity. We have another project to expand the water system and water rights that we've submitted for state funding and federal funding for. 3rd Street improvements there along Lentz School and going all the way down to Southern. That's one of the other projects. And then we have a couple of other projects that are related to traffic and everything that center around the Annachi's corridor extension. So all of those are requiring some letters of support, some of which we've already received from different council members and the mayor. And we appreciate you all working with us on such short order. We also have met in that same vein with regard to the wastewater treatment plants with the Yakima Firing Center to receive a letter of support for our sewer system project, and they have indicated that we would be supportive of sending that letter. So that helps us out a lot with our funding. And we also met with the school superintendent, Mr. Backlund, for the sidewalk improvement program down 3rd Street, and they're going to lend us a letter of support for that project as well. Then we are also working towards completing the capital facilities plan update. We're waiting on a couple of pieces of information, and then we'll take that to environmental review, and that will be coming to you probably the end of May or beginning of June for adoption, as well as the end of May and beginning of June. We also have our annual 6-year transportation improvement plan, where we go and rank all of our different public street projects. And so those will also be coming to you for your review and approval. And that needs to be done, if I remember correctly, and submitted to the COG by the 1st of July, I think. Then with regard to building, we have lots of different contractors are bringing permits. I mean, the construction costs are going through the roof. I don't know if you've been to Lowe's or Home Depot and seen the price of OSB and plywood. It's around about $2 to $5, depending upon, I guess, where you go. But I think a lot of developers are trying to buy their lumber at whatever price they could get it and get these houses built so they can, so to speak, move on to more custom projects where their margins are better. So we've seen a lot of activity over the last 2 months with new buildings. Code compliance wise, Aaron has been out enforcing our sign ordinance and the directives from the city administrator. She's also been going out to, now that the weather's better and COVID-19 has relaxed a little bit, she's attacking some of these properties that are in poor shape and trying to encourage them to clean up their different properties. So, and then just on the general public work side of things, Joe wanted me to mention that we've been mainly focusing on this week about getting all of the meters read and everything like that, which has been done and complete. At the beginning of the week, both planning and public works work together to take a look at the gazebo at Wixon Park. And as the building official, we've documented about, I want to say about 30 some pictures or so, maybe a little bit more, that show the condition of that structure, that it was unsafe and rotten through and through. And so under our property maintenance code and the building code, we had to condemn that structure. So it's been removed, and the Public Works worked really hard to try to save different parts of that structure. And for the most part, there was basically the Trex decking from that was done to put in, I think it was a year or two ago, is what Ty told me. They were able to save some of that and then save the weather vane off the top of it, as some of the SDA had requested that we try to save that feature. And but the rest of the structure was pretty much a total loss. It was rotten. So that's complete. And then the guys have been out working on some of our other projects, looking at crack filling some of our streets with and then just general maintenance in the parks and things. So I'll just leave it at that, and that's I think covers everything.
Thank you, Jeff. Mr. Schwab.
So June 19th, car show. We are neck deep in planning that. I'm looking forward to bringing on the new recreation coordinator to help with that. Her name is Kelsey Schmidt. She will be in the office starting May 10th. So if anybody wants to come down and introduce yourself and say hi, she will be there. We're getting ready, hopefully, to open up soccer registration. So a spring, summer soccer season. As long as we continue to stay in phase 3, we will open that up on May 10th as well. So I will introduce our facilities coordinator after he has accepted the position, and we're all good. But otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you. Chief Ling.
One moment, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I heard them buzz off to a call. He may not be there anymore.
Okay.
DC Gilly's there. Maybe he
can. Deputy Chief, are you still there?
Madam Mayor, can you hear me now?
Yep, now we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, let me apologize for being on the phone tonight. I had a semi-emergent irrigation problem, so I'm multitasking here. So I want to thank the council for passing the resolution for the interlocal agreement. And at the fire department, I guess we're status quo. We just got a lot of irons in the fire right now. We've had an uptick on call volume as of lately with the weather change, which was expected. We've got Deputy Chief Gilly is diligently studying for some fire marshal exams, which he's getting ready to take here soon, we hope. And then we've got some county radio stuff going on that I will bring you more up to date on as soon as we get closer. Other than that, we're doing well, and thank you.
Thank you. And fire season's upon us?
Yeah, so everybody's really happy about the rain except for firefighters, because that makes things grow really tall really fast and then it dries out really quick. So yeah, it's a little drier than normal. We had our wildland meeting last week, and we're expecting unfortunately, we're expecting another good fire season this year. So
do we have anything left to burn after last year?
We, as far as Selah and the surrounding area, don't have a lot left to burn, but I dare not say that out loud because Murphy's Law is we'll be busy. So
yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Council members, Jackie.
Madam Mayor, no report.
Thank you. Kevin.
No report.
Cliff.
I have no report.
Roger?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I don't really have a report, but I wanted to give a shout out, not steal Mr. Wayman's thunder here, but I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Wayman and to you as the mayor for having lobbied with Senator Honeyford to receive this grant for the Crusher Canyon deal, because that does not happen without making our voice heard. So I just appreciate that for one council member anyway. The fact that you reached out to him and we were able to obtain that, that's huge for this city. So thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Suzanne?
I have no report.
Thank you. Mike?
I have no report.
Mr. Case?
I have no public report.
Mr. Wayman?
Well, as Roger said, we have managed to get $1 million into the spending bill, which will be applied if the council deemed it necessary to the Crusher Canyon collection system project that we will be bringing to you during our next meeting. I spoke to Rep. Defoe. I'm sorry, folks. I always forget his name. I don't know why.
Jeremy Defoe?
Jeremy Defoe. Jeremy is going to get on with us on our next Zoom meeting, next council meeting, and I told him to be ready to answer lots of questions from the council about what went on during the last session. So I'm going to gird him for questions that you guys might have for him above and beyond this particular project. And he's graciously volunteered to come on board and talk to you all during our next meeting. But beyond that, everything's normal. The weeds are going like crazy. I had my afternoon walk today, and I'll be talking to our public works folks about weed eradication into our right-of-ways and sidewalks. So those of you who are seeing that, we're seeing it too at the city, and we're going to do something about it. Go ahead.
Thank you. They actually sprayed the other day, so they should be dying. Hopefully. Let's see, Roger. Roger and Cliff and Mike are on the facilities committee. Am I missing somebody, Roger? For the police station?
Chief Chrisman is also on that.
I am so sorry. And they have decided that they wanted citizens to also join in on that committee, and they have chosen two. And I would like to welcome Dick Graff and Lisa Gordon. They're going to sit on that committee with them, and things are moving forward with their work that they're doing. I don't know, Roger, do any of you want to add anything? Cliff, Chief?
Jerry, we should be starting to see some responses to the request for proposals for the architectural design. So that should be coming in next month.
And when is the cutoff date for that?
I believe it's 1 June.
Okay. Okay. So we're moving forward. Things are looking good. A little bit of excitement there. Thank you guys for all your hard work. Also, if you have ballots sitting on your tables at home or in your car seats of your car, make sure you get them dropped before 8 o'clock tonight. And that's all I have. Everybody have a great evening. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I see a hand up in the corner by Katrina.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to comment, Mr. Wayman noticed a bunch of weeds, and I too noticed those, and they are on our honeydew list for cleanup days. So if for some reason that spray doesn't get them all, our volunteers will, and I just wanted to let you guys know that.
They'll be gone way before then.
Okay, well, if we see any, they'll be handled.
Thanks. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Who first?
Councilmember Wickenhagen.
We have a motion to adjourn by Kevin, a second by Roger. All those in favor? Show of hands, it's unanimous that we are adjourned. Have a great night, guys.